guys welcome back to my WICSO. In this scenario we'll be continuing to look at the scenario where the civilization starts over. So let's get into it. So to start off, we see exploration. We see explorations happen in South Europe, North Europe, and then in a lot into Eastern Europe, and then quite a little bit in North Africa. Moving from north to south, we see that the blue team expands quite a lot in Morocco, and so does the East African team. They also take this bit of Crete here. Then we see that up here we see expansion. The Romans push quite a lot out this way, and the Greeks get quite a big bit of the Aegean Sea. This Macedon team, they get this weird little handle here, as well as the Romanians came up to there. Moving to here, we see that the Romanians move a lot here, the Hungarians get a bit here, and the Polish expand quite a little bit, and also see the Baltics here. Next we see the East European nations forming. We have Belarus, this Russian country, and the Ukrainian nation. Obviously we have the Ukrainian color, because who doesn't use that? Anyways, next up we see that, did we even, yeah we did, also Norway expands, Denmark I mean. Denmark's quite at risk here from being invaded because their capital is so close to the Dutch border. The Dutch could just take it but then they'd have to face all of this military, because obviously it's a partial nation, Denmark is. Anyways, we see that Romania begins to invade here into Macedonia, and the invasion is quite good as they take a lot of land here, and the Romans even join in and they take the capital, which then collapses the nation in a peace treaty. It looks like this. The next thing we're going to look at is this big African nation, I'm going to call it Algeria. Algeria starts to move into here. Algeria takes quite a lot of land, and then we see Morocco basically fully breaking away, and all of the blue team's colonies, they're gone. The blue team colonial empire has finally fallen. Obviously they'll get another one at some point in history, in the future I mean, but yeah. Anyways, we see that Morocco gets its independence, its capital goes there, and yeah, North Africa is independent. Now we can see two main spheres of influence popping up. There's the sphere of influence that these guys have over here, and then the Roman sphere of influence counteracts it, looking a bit more. The Roman sphere of influence looks a bit more like this, just like this, and obviously there's the Iberian influence over there, but yeah. But there's two main spheres of influence around the Mediterranean now. There's only basically two main countries on the Mediterranean now, which is kind of interesting. Anyways, to prove the blue team tried to prove their strength and that they're not weak after just losing their colonies, they decided to prove it by taking out a small and basically the weakest nation in the world. Probably second weakest. I'm pretty sure that Wales is pretty weak up here. England is actually really strong. So same as these two up here, they're very strong. Anyways, in a peace treaty, we see that the blue team, or South Iberia, will take all of it. There's now only 3 countries left in Iberia. There used to be more. There used to be 1, 2. Okay, yeah, there used to be some other nations there. Anyway, there also used to be this Basque team, which only lasted for 2 minutes. Anyways, next up we see what do we see happening? Oh right, my bad. We see the Dutch starting invasion into Denmark. instantly taking the capital. It looks like this and also there. Anyways, but funnily enough, there's actually an alliance between these three guys here, which is not good for the Dutch because they're about to get destroyed. We see that the Poles begin to move in, and this is not good because the Poles are really strong. They're actually stronger than the Dutch. You see the Danish begin to make pushbacks, and eventually the English, after a couple of weeks of attempts to make a naval landing, they managed to get a foothold here, which they then used to make a large invasion into there. Next up, we see that Poland moves even further in, and Denmark even begins to make an invasion in. And these two armies meet up, and the Poles begin to start moving their army through here. And the English make a bigger foothold a bit bigger. And eventually, as the Danish near the capital, the two nations of England and the combined militaries of these two guys, they encircle the capital there. And then the rest of the nation split, and eventually they capture the capital of the Netherlands, of the Dutch team. In the peace treaty, we see that England gets this little puppet here. Denmark gets a lot of this North German land, and they also get a Frisian puppet. So there you go, Frisian for you, made one for you. And we see the Poles get quite a bit of land here, and they also just take this massive Central German puppet. And obviously these guys get capitals. The Dutch have been completely crippled by this war. Anyways, the next thing we see happening is a right angle alliance being formed. And then we see some more exploration into the east. Down here we see that there's a country here that forms, and Greece gets a lot of land here. They even take all of Cyprus. We see the Romanians expand quite a lot, and up here we see that Ukrainians expand a bit, and also this Russian team expands. And we also see that this Estonian team is getting quite big. Next up, the final event of this video, we see that Rome does something which could trigger their collapse, which is they invade the red team. This is not good for Rome, and if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.